The Zone Coverage Podcast Network.
The Andy Luke and Reef Football Machine.
Autobots, transform! I like this kind of party!
Straight cash, homie.
Starts now.
We're not ever live.
Welcome back to Thunderdome for another Zone Coverage Football Machine, Zone Coverage Podcast. What are you watching on your phone?
Stanley Cup playoffs.
Does it rhyme with Morn Hub?
It's a
Born Rub?
Born Rub.
Born Rub would actually be a good name for a sex.
Was actually a subsection. The newborn ultimatum movie.
We're recording? Just kidding. I'm your not so humble host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on the Twitter machine. I have equity. More equity than if I had $1 for every Carson Wentz joke I saw on Twitter during the royal wedding. Ooh. He looks more like PJ Fleck's bastard stepchild.
There's a lot of he looks way more like.
There's a lot of
Prince
Ed Sheeran
Harry.
ones,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You saw all the Ed Sheeran
I think Prince
ones?
Harry is more handsome.
Also, she's way too hot for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
He's a prince.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Like, who cares? Have you seen his dad, who is also a prince?
His swagger must be amazing when he went up to her because they got set up on a blind date or whatever, and she's just like, I don't know if he's really that interested.
I want to know who
I'm
set that up.
I know, right?
Her friends set it up on a blind date. It's just like,
Yeah, how'd they know Harry, and how come they didn't stake their claim for themselves?
They're like, come on, Carson Wentz.
I'm more of a Nick Foles guy.
Who's to say they didn't swing and they just missed? And they're like, well, it's got to be at least one of us. When
No, I will say that Harry seems like a way better time than the bald one.
yes,
his dad.
No, the
William.
King.
William.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bill.
yeah.
his brother.
Billy
Yeah.
Baldwin.
Yeah.
Billy Baldwin.
Have they all served in the military or just Harry?
They both serve in the military, and like
I love the pictures of Harry like just in a tank.
yeah.
Like, it's fine. He's gone through military. He should be there, right? But like, it's just so weird because you see, like, first of all, British people with a particularly affected British accent, when you put a face to it, like Prince Harry, and then you see them like in a tank, absolutely clean while everybody else is dirty. Amazing.
Was it Mike Dukakis that was in the tank? And
Oh yeah, he looked way more ridiculous.
Yeah.
At least Harry was
I
comfortable.
just love the video where he's like in an interview and then people start running, and he totally like black guys it and just tosses up. People are running, so I gotta run after them. So, it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
that was good. I like that.
Yeah. Also like that. I get it. It's a great symbolism for the state, but they were super fast track. Like I think they're both the equivalent of majors, and they're like in their late 20s.
Well, he can't like serve. I mean, like I know he was like deployed to Afghanistan and stuff, but like,
Yeah,
they're not gonna expose him to that much.
All right, Harris. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna sit in Kabul inside this bulletproof and bomb-proof bunker and sip tea. That's none of my business. Yeah. Although, I was gonna mock people for loving the royal wedding, except we watch football and we watch the combine and all other stuff.
Did you see that
draft,
tweet that
day 3?
Yeah, you saw that Adam Stites tweet?
Yeah,
Like,
that was great.
I was gonna make fun of the royal wedding, but then I watched day 3.
I willingly sit down and watch the day
It's like,
3.
okay, yeah, fair.
Arif was just up for the wedding.
There was a funny picture where like Meghan Markle has the the veil taken off of her, and she's like really looking at Prince Harry like in love and stuff. And people are just like, man, they're like really in love. Like, you guys, she's an actress. She looks at every dude in every romantic comedy.
That's cynical as hell, man.
It's true though.
I love this take.
It's true though. I wanted to quote to you, but I knew people would be upset. But I'm like, she looks at literally every dude that she's in a relationship.
I really wish that there was some.
Well, Harry was clearly into it. Did you see his response?
Oh yeah, he had to be in it. Oh, he was
He's
definitely.
like, you look fine as hell.
And she's like, you're Prince.
Suits.
Yeah.
I just really wish that early on in her career she had done like some C-list movie and had some like wicked nude scene. It's like whatever.
Probably would have never happened then.
Yeah.
Like the family would have been like, no.
What if that would have been the line?
Prince William's like, Mr. Skin it.
What if
Wait, that's already a website?
What if Harry
Damn.
Foreskin.
What if Harry didn't even like suits? Like that would be hella awkward.
He was a bird notice guy.
Yeah.
Also, what was the one where they're like in Malibu and they like have a CIA safe house on the beach? I watched like 2 episodes of that. I was actually into
That's
that.
like.
It was not Psych.
Not Psych.
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 You sure it wasn't Burn Notice?
No, it was something different. It
was like a black guy and white guy, right?
Well, that doesn't narrow it down. USA program.
Some USA
first
Today.
take.
First take. Yeah, Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless were just hanging out.
By the way, Shannon Sharp looks jacked as hell. Still,
He does.
Oh yeah,
he's ready to go.
Shannon Sharp needs his own show. Like he just needs to.
He's way more entertaining.
Yeah.
I just worry that he's going to become too like personality and not just be himself.
Caricature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
That's
most
fair.
worried about because it's funny when he's like coming out with the mouths and stuff and like the
Black and Mild. Come on.
Yeah, Black and Mild.
Which is he's the opposite of Mild. But yeah, caller, who we got?
Hey, this is everyone's favorite, Can Do Andrew. How's it going, everybody?
What's
Good.
up,
Andrew, what's going on?
Hey, it's been a while. Hey, I'm employed. Things are looking up.
Oh, congrats, man.
Yeah.
I'm not reading Don't Kill Myself books anymore.
Jesus.
Are you kidding me?
Oh
Man,
my God.
Pull up your pants.
That's the worst. That's the worst out of all the 3 awkward things that we've had. You're the worst person now. Anyway, Andrew,
And the
what's
funny,
up?
and it hasn't. None of the wow moments have come from me. It's
Or me.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
I mean, but
Andrew
you're
knows.
also a coward, so.
That's not true.
All right, so I tweeted a while ago. Andy
Bad idea.
responds to this, but did you guys see Babatunde as a wrestler now?
Yeah, he's in the he's in like the WWE
He's like in
minor
the
leagues or
equivalent of
something?
the double A, like Tebow.
Yeah.
He
Who
took
makes
a
it
double
first?
red-eye to Saudi Arabia for like 20 minutes of work and got paid probably nothing.
What a
like,
stud.
Yeah, but free trip, right?
Yeah, getting paid nothing in Saudi Arabia or Qatar.
Who
Yeah,
do
we've heard
you
that
want to
before.
see him wrestle?
Jesus, Andy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's intense. Who do you want to see him wrestle?
Ray Edwards.
I was just about to say Ray Edwards. Yeah. That would be great.
Rick can make anyone look good, right?
Herschel Walker's still like
Yes,
Right?
such a good call.
Undertaker.
Undertaker.
Dude, that dude's still kicking it. I had this a wrestling conversation with some diehards at the bar rail. That guy not only is still wrestling, but he's still damn good too at like 58.
That's crazy.
56 maybe?
You seen those
It might have
videos
been
of him
56.
like working out?
Uh-uh.
He's intense.
Is he?
Yeah, but not like
Dude.
Undertaker. Like he's not playing his character,
Right.
But
He's just
like
straight
it's still
working out.
just extremely intense. But anyway, Babatunde wrestling. That's super fun, man.
Brad Childress.
Probably gets
Just
it.
imagine him doing the sit-ups, but like staying in character and rolling the eyes back in the head. Every time.
Actually,
got
no,
the makeup
it would be
on.
great. Like if and when US Bank Stadium gets a WrestleMania, just having Babatunde in there is like, I finally made it in here.
I'm gonna.
He's like, I just stuck around.
Zip line across that WrestleMania. I swear to goodness. So I guess my question is to celebrate Babatunde being making the big times. Hey, good for you, kid. Who's next? Like who's gonna be the next Viking?
Everson, right?
Yeah,
No.
well, Everson makes a ton of sense just because
Hercules Matafa.
he's got a great mic, right? But Moritz would suck, so not him.
Michael Motti dresses Raiden.
Ooh.
I want to see it go down.
What about
Who would look good
Evan
in a
Marcus.
luchador mask wrestling from the Vikings?
I mean,
They already wear helmets.
right? Man, see, I don't know. Everson's maybe the best answer.
I feel like Gideon would be good, especially
be.
in the mask.
Yeah.
He'd be good.
Getting would be good, yeah. Man.
This is tough. I don't think any of the
It's
offensive
weird
linemen
on a
are
team
like
of
enough.
football
Riley
players.
reached a monster, but he was just
Yeah.
doesn't
But you gotta
seem
be,
to
like,
be
more
that. You got to
interesting.
have a
If
character, right?
Alex Boone was still on the team, I think Alex.
Oh,
Boone.
yeah,
Alex Boone,
it would be
yeah.
Alex
Oh
Boone.
no, Gideon and his persona is Mr. All American. Because remember, like
Right,
his Twitter header.
Yeah.
He's just like the
Just super funny.
complete like jabroni America dude, and just be awesome. Chug beer all the time. All right, he's stone cold.
Oh man, Ben Gideon's shirt would be the worst.
What?
No, he's funny.
Who do you think would be the best?
There's not a lot to work with in the first place.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oof. You think B-Rob could be any good if he got? I mean, obviously you got to be a certain type of physicality.
I think B-Rob could be like.
Well, it's not
B-Rob
very.
could be a tag team champion.
He has to bring an ugly stick in the ring every time.
And just go nuts. I think he would go great.
Yeah.
Guys, I still don't think you can beat Everson.
We had all Viking main event at WrestleMania this year. You know,
yeah, and they both lost.
Dreams do come true.
But they also both lost. It was like the perfect Vikings event.
No, that was 3 years ago. This year, one of them exploded a bottle of ketchup that had been dropped on the kitchen floor, and then got hit by 6 F5s and lost. Whoa. It was like a man trying to refresh his computer.
Dope. That's amazing.
Oh, it was great. Like, they had to keep the match all in on tight because fans brought out beach balls and were just throwing them around. At least that's not happening in fucking USA Stadium. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm cursing.
No worries, man.
I stumbled at the finish line again.
It's okay.
That's okay.
Andrew, we're proud that you're gainfully employed again, and we're happy to hear from you.
All right. Well, hey, it's good to hear from you guys too. I'll hang up. Listen later.
All right, you're the man.
Right.
See you, Andrew.
Awesome. Andrew's at the royal wedding.
Oh, for sure.
It was him, Oprah, and Idris Elba. It's chilling.
I love it. Me some Idris.
He's a national treasure. Like I'm sort of ashamed I didn't watch The Wire. But he was great in The Office.
It's not too late. It's still there.
Did I tell you I tried going back and watching it from episode 1? And I know the pilots are already a little dry anyways, but it was so like stereotypical. Like it was almost like I was watching something Family Guy was making fun of.
Oh,
it was
The
like
Office?
What's that?
The Office or The Wire?
The Wire.
Oh.
It was just that classic crime cop show on HBO that I could see how it was good back then, but like I missed the boat, kind of. You know what I mean? Like it was so stereotypical. Like, go ahead.
There are definitely some shows that I grew up on black television, and the Jamie Foxx show, Steve Harvey show, Wayne's Brothers, Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, there's a lot of like if you go back and watch those shows, there are jokes that you hear now, and I'm like, oh, that would never fly in today's day and age. Even Jamie Foxx show, like I rewatched it recently.
Jamie Foxx show.
He's incredibly talented, but like some of the impressions and just like the accents and stuff, would be pretty highly offensive now.
My thought on that though is I hate when people go back. And
it's definitely hard to be really retro. Like
Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's as the Asian super landlord.
Mickey Rooney in general.
That was
Mickey Rooney in general.
No, Mike Pouncey says it's okay. All right, so finishing up the top 10. We got 3 spots left. So Linval Joseph, come on down. You're in the 3-hole. I had him at 2. Yinka and Arif had him at 5. Luke had him at 4. Why do you guys hate Linval so much?
I mean,
he's the straw that stirs the drink.
He was my second highest defensive guy, just because I think he's so integral to the Vikings defense. Like up front, he's the guy that I'm expecting to disrupt everything. Take on double teams, free things up for Kendricks. Just like he's going to command that double team, and I think he's definitely gotten better as like a pass rusher to kind of create that pressure up the middle, which I think you're seeing. It's definitely helping Jefferson Griffin and Danielle Hunter to collapse the pocket a little bit more so. So I had him as my second ranked defensive guy, even if he was only 5 on my list.
Yeah, it's just one of those nose tackles just don't get a lot of love. I mean, it's ironic because arguably you take Linval out, and we've seen it before.
The Seahawks game was pretty bad.
I was just going to say Seahawks. And we were missing Harrison Smith. We were missing Anthony Barr. But you saw it up front first with Linval being able to manhandle not just 2 guys but 3 guys sometimes. So such an important part, like you mentioned already, not to sound too redundant, but such an important part to what Mike Zimmer wants to do when he can free up his other chess pieces, specifically Anthony Barr in the second tier and Harrison Smith in the third tier with all their versatility. So, yeah, Linval, man, he's just that damn good.
That's insane. So Henry Thomas, sort of unsung hero, nose tackle.
Hardware Hank.
Yeah, next to John Randall. 93.5 sacks. No love, No, whatever. Warren Sapp only has 96.5.
We've got a piece on Henry Thomas over at ZoneCoverage.com from a year ago in the underrated Vikings series.
Yeah.
And who was it who retweeted it? And we all like...
Well, he retweeted it.
That's right.
Yeah. Ed White retweeted the Ed White piece.
Yeah.
There's like one more, I think. But yeah, no, that's a really good point. Now, it was... I don't want to like diminish him too much. It was a little bit easier for nose tackles to get sacks with what the Vikings were doing then. But yeah, that's incredibly impressive. The reason I had Linval right, it was what, number 3, right?
You had him at 5.
We both had him at 5.
Oh, okay.
Is this what you're doing now?
Yeah.
Nick has taken off his headset and just talking right at the mic.
Jesus,
My ears hurt, man.
so ridiculous.
Oh, I can turn him down, bud.
No. I'm saying like literally the.
Well, so the problem is now the mic is like moving back and forth.
Oh, can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll just be
Just
quiet.
Yanka, are these $200 headsets not good enough for you?
They're not.
He wants earbuds. I want earbuds.
I'm very Prince-like, so.
Yeah, so anyway, the reason I had Linval below like Xavier Rhodes and Harrison Smith is because he does get off the field on third downs, and so there's a ceiling to how effective he can be, but like the two of them mentioned, he's really important on first and second down. He creates favorable third down situations, and the Vikings defense is predicated off of treating punts as turnovers, forcing them to punt as often as possible, and Linval puts them into really difficult situations, puts offenses in really difficult situations. So he's really important, but the fact that he's not a 3-down player makes him not have quite the impact in my mind as Harrison Smith and Xavier Rhodes.
He was used a little bit more in third down situations this season, right?
Yep.
A little bit, not a ton.
Not a ton,
but
just
I
a little
think a
bit
lot
more
of it has to do with like the active defensive tackles the Vikings had.
Producer of the show, you got watch Yanka's levels.
Well, I mean, it's because he's like. Right
but
on the
you can manipulate.
It's already down. I'm looking at his levels right now.
Yanka fixed it. Figured it out.
Yeah, it's fixed. Here, I'm gonna turn down.
Numero 2 at the deuce spot. Kirk Cousins. I had him at 3. Yanka and Arif had him at the numero 1 spot.
Yeah.
Luke had him at 9.
I might have F that one up. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Yeah. Let me give. No, absolutely, of course, he should be in the top.
Okay, so what's
be in the top
bigger blunder? Yinka forgetting Anthony Barr or?
Well, you forgot.
You just forgot him.
I forgot a player though.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty big.
Forgot a Pro Bowl player on the team.
Yeah. No, it's the new, and I did this with Sheldon too. Like Kurt, no matter what, whether you have 1 or 3, he's got to be in your top 5. I downed him a couple spots, and yes, I will say too far because of the new surroundings. There's that question mark of you'd never know what you're going to get until you see it first with the new surroundings, the new Diggs, and everything else. And I know we're all expecting Kirk Cousins to be the guy he was in Washington, but until you actually see it, there's always a few question marks in the back of your mind. But Kirk Cousins, certainly, I F this one up for sure. Kirk Cousins should be in everybody's top 5. But at the end of the day, yeah, probably because of the position he plays, like Arif said, should be number 1.
We should go get those Nashville wings again. We're good.
Yes.
So hot.
Hey, caller, who we got?
Yeah, Luke died.
So hot.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's y'all's favorite Aggie.
Hey,
I love this.
No, why? We just talked about our favorite Aggie and Henry Thomas.
Oh, Johnny Manziel.
No, hard rank, man. What's going on, dude?
How's the pup, man?
Dude, he's good. He's almost 80 pounds now.
Jeez, getting big.
Oh, wow.
80
big,
pounds.
dude. Getting
Yeah,
big.
he's getting up there.
I follow Wyatt on social media. It's fun to watch this dog evolution so far because he was a pup not long ago, man. 80 pounds already. That's huge.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a cool social media guy and keep his weekly pictures. So in a year and a half.
Well, really, that's we all know, and everyone can attest to this. Social media is for your food and your pets.
Then you put in a montage. Then you put in a montage to, of course, the song "Pictures of You."
I mean, yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
you can do that. Is that
that's
a
a requirement
thing, or what is that? Yeah.
It's a requirement, yeah, go ahead.
No, I guess the reason I called him today was say, we got the guys that we got to sign, which would be, Diggs, Hunter, Barr, and if we couldn't sign all 3 guys, do you think there is more of a chance we trade one than to just let them walk into free agency? I mean, wouldn't this be the year you would then want to trade them?
Mm-hmm.
Man, everyone hates Waynes. Jeez. No, I'm kidding.
Well, we've seen Rick trade some big names before, right? Like Percy Harvin got a 1-3 and a 7. So certainly if he can find the value. And I think, first of all, though, Wyatt, it's got to be, are we sure after all things considering we cannot sign this guy? Then, because once you start testing the waters of trading a big name, and once it gets leaked out to the media, then it's a thing. Then it's like, why do you hate,
especially a guy you draft that high.
Why do you hate Trey Wayne so much? It's like, no, we don't. We just might not be able to sign him. That's all. We don't hate him, but
I don't think they're going to do Patriots. When they traded Jamie Collins. Or I guess Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
Right? Because he got traded. Did he get traded?
Yeah, he got traded to Arizona for.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Shock ate me.
Who was that worthless guard?
Cooper? Jonathan Cooper?
Yeah, that guy.
But also for picks that were more valuable than Jonathan Cooper. No, I don't think they'll do it because, A, they don't have Tom Brady, and B, I think they view all of those players as, important to their Super Bowl run. And that's, the goal, right? It's always good to get trade compensation for a player on the last year of their contract if you can't trade them, but I don't think they'll I can't imagine a situation where they're like, we can't sign Stefon Diggs off to Denver or wherever, so now we're gonna roll with Kendall Wright and Laquan Treadwell opposite Adam Thielen, Super Bowl or bust, baby. It's just not gonna happen. So I think so I think go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, if you get all three of those guys signed, I mean, your window is now, obviously, I would say probably not even a 2 or 3 year window like we're thinking right now. If you could manage to get Diggs, Barr, Hunter signed, and Waynes, if we got enough pennies left, and then, you're looking at a solid team. I mean, you already have Xavier Rhodes, you have Harrison Smith, Linval Joseph, Everson Griffin, Eric Kendricks, and then, offense side of the ball, you don't have to worry about Dalvin Cook for a while. We just paid Captain Kirk $80 million. And so it's like, if you can manage to get Diggs signed, Adams already signed, and then you pull off getting Hunter and Barr signed, I mean, that window now looks more like 5 or 6 years. So it's like, that's the dream scenario, but
right, yeah.
Do it?
No, in a scenario where you can't do it, I just think, I think that they don't want to. So if you can't do it, you're right, it shortens your window. I think they just don't want to shorten it even further by trading away a player for this season, especially because, I mean, this is a team that, when they go all in, they go all in. Right. The Favre season, the trade for Bradford, the $84 million contract for Kirk Cousins.
Shouldn't you do that, though, as a football team? It just seems like...
if your roster's there, I get it, because you do all this work building the foundation of the roster, the core, the nucleus, and you finally get it there and you're one piece away. Okay, go ahead. Especially a quarterback.
Yeah,
okay,
I think it depends on your situation, right? I think New England never is and never will go all in, but they have a support structure to let them not go all in and still compete.
Right.
The Seahawks were kind of the same way.
Right.
But the Vikings, I think, they needed to find a way to get a quarterback. It's very difficult to do that at the 30th spot. Mm-hmm. Plus, I mean, you don't know if your window's going to be there. Right, yeah. I agree with you, Yinka. But... if they're going all in, I just don't see them being we're going to do everything we can get to get this guy we think is going to win a Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins, we've got all the pieces around him, except Stefon Diggs. We really needed that second-round pick. I don't see that happening. Right. And the same thing even on the defense. A team that invests a first-round pick into a backup cornerback is not going to get rid of Anthony Barr. Even if that's the only way that you can end up getting compensation, and if they're all these players are going to get a good trade value for you, you're going to get some value for them in the compensatory process anyway, which is nice. It's definitely a consolation prize in that scenario. But I think they're not in a spot where they can do that because they don't have the institutional support structure to continue winning in a world where they lose really valuable players. I think they just want to be in when they're in.
Ooh, my default trade, so Anthony Barr for Zach Barton. Who says no? Besides Dallas.
Besides Dallas,
You're thinking it. I was literally just about to say Dallas is in this crazy predicament where they're in cap hell, and, they've got to re-sign. They've got Tyron Smith re-signed on a great deal.
Fantastic deal.
And now you got Zach Martin, Lil Collins, and Connor Williams, just the best offensive line ever made, I think. And, but are you going to invest all that money in the offensive line? I was literally just about to say, what are the odds you trade to something like the Cowboys, who desperately need some defense? Or, if Danielle Hunter's the odd man out, you would trade, maybe, which I hope.
Oh, no. Whoa.
Bro, we need to back it up.
Whoa. Wait. Didn't you see what was his name? Jason Fitzgerald from Over the Cap tweeted out that Danielle, if he has a good season, could get $18 million. Yeah. So I don't know. How much are you going to back it up, man? Like $18 million.
It's so hard to find young pass rushers at his caliber.
$18 million.
Is it? They found him in the third round. How hard could it be?
I mean, again, you think you could try again?
Just draft every guy that had 4.5 college
That's where they found Everson. They got Brian Robinson in the fourth.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, you
edge
can.
rushers are easy.
Fourth round.
It's easy.
I mean, you can.
Just have Tayshaun Bauer wear 99.
Yeah, right. It's the same thing.
And it's like the Vikings usually do a really good job about signing you guys a year early. Right before they start really getting into stride of how good they can be.
Yeah, which is why it's so important.
This year we're doing it the exact opposite. Like, I have a feeling Stefon Diggs is about to go out and have the best season of his career. If he can stay healthy, this is probably one of the best quarterbacks he's ever had throw to him. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to have Anthony Barr. And so now we're going to be paying, it's going to kill me to watch him pay Stefon Diggs. I mean, he deserves it. If he could stay on the field, I think Stefon Diggs top 5 route runner in the NFL. But what do you guys realistically think Stefon Diggs is going to get paid?
14,
man,
16 million.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think 16. I think 14 is closer to it.
Yeah. Also, Wyatt, it's weird hearing you talk about routes.
Routes?
No, I'm just kidding, man.
What do you know about routes?
That's right. Hey, appreciate you calling in, man. You're one of our favorites.
All right, man. I'll let you later.
That's it.
You the man.
Got one more.
All right, caller, who we got?
Mas 12.
Caller. Is this 10-10-220?
Can't get much for a buck these days.
Hey, is the Honda ready to pick up?
He's gone. I don't know what happened.
Oh, no, man. Not this one.
$43 an oil change with that? No, fine. So Cousins came in at 200 consensus ranks. Numero uno. Number one with a bullet. So Trey Waynes, I had him 1. Yinka had him 1 as well. Arif 1. No, it's fine. Harrison Smith, I had him 1. Yinka 4. Arif 2. And Luke Duke number 1 as well. So Harrison Smith,
baby.
56 total points. Pretty convincing win.
Such a stud.
I mean, I had him 3, 2?
2.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna knock him too much, right? It's just
2.
Yeah, right. You're gonna do. Why do you?
Outside of Earl Thomas, he's probably the best safety in the league.
I'm just saying. This is the email we got. Email me your top 15 current Vikings in terms of importance to the squad. Quarterback, number 1. That's it. That's all I can say.
But I skimmed that. I didn't read those details. That one sentence Andy made me read.
Yeah, right.
Which quarterback would you want to, or which player would you want to have a beer with? That's how we ranked them.
But yeah, Harrison Smith and Earl Thomas are unique among, and maybe Malcolm Jenkins, are unique among high-level safeties in terms of their importance to the squad. I think that if you take a look at really other high-level safeties, even if you go all the way back to Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed, Eric Weddle, Eric Berry, I think they're maybe more talented. I don't know. I mean, Harrison Smith's really talented. Maybe they're more talented, but I don't think they were as important to the way the defense was run or just in general. Just because safeties, when they're removed so far from the ball, have less of an ability to impact plays. They tend to have an impact on deep balls and stuff like that. But Earl Thomas widened the range for his middle of the field coverage, which allows the cover 3 to operate with such little room. And Harrison Smith plays all over the field, like you mentioned earlier. He's an edge rusher. He's a great run stuffer. He's one of the best force players in the league. If you combined Earl Thomas, one of the best free safeties in the NFL, and Rashad Jones, maybe the best strong safety in the NFL, you have Harrison Smith. It's just absurd. So he can play any position. He can be anywhere. And quarterbacks and offenses have to change what they're doing based off of where he is. So he's extraordinarily important, even though he's a safety.
And the thing is, too, it's not just that he can play or line up anywhere. It's that he plays at the same Pro Bowl or All-Pro level at every position or at every tier of the defense. Whether he's blitzing out the edge and tackles Danny Woodhead one-handed in the backfield on a jet sweep, or is playing center field. Yeah, playing center field in Lambeau, picking off Aaron Rodgers. The guy is not just able to line up and be versatile. He's able to play at a Pro Bowl level no matter where he's at. There's no weakness. He doesn't, you don't see his game slip a little bit. Oh, he's in center field. Oh, okay, he's not quite as good. No, he's just good everywhere.
I think we talked about this before, but I love how Harrison Smith would lead the NFL if they calculated tackles by random body parts. Like how many scapula tackles does he have?
Right.
Where like the running back has the head of steam, and then he just like whacks him across the thigh pads with his forearm. Is like, oh yeah, we're down.
Right.
I love the fact that a couple of years ago, Colin Kaepernick just kind of gave up after he just destroys him. Colin's like, done. He sees Harrison Smith coming at him.
Like, no, I'm not here for this.
I'm good, bro.
Brandon Marshall said that this was like years ago, back when he was with the Bears. Brandon Marshall said Harrison Smith is the hardest hitting safety he's ever played against. Like that's just wild to me.
Dude.
And that's when he was like, that was like Harrison Smith's second year in the league.
I remember that game. He picked Cutler off that game in the red zone, right on the sideline, a little tiptoe on the sideline. I believe we ended up losing that game anyways, but a classic at Soldier Field, back and forth type of game, which you love to have Harrison Smith on your side.
Yeah, that signature hit, which is going to play on Harrison Smith's Hall of Fame thing, when he smacked Kaepernick on the sidelines.
Wow.
That's the reason Cap took a knee after all that time. He's like,
real quick, you guys saw the new rule, right?
Yeah, we're just going to segue.
Okay.
All right, so NFL owners have their jabroni meetings, and they're setting up their...
Do you want to talk about this with this caller?
Sure, why not?
Here it is. Steve. He had just called in, and we missed him.
Shalom, caller. Who we got?
Caller.
Hola.
This might be the computer.
Como está usted?
There he is.
Hey, caller. Who we got?
Who do you think?
Who do you think
you called
it
it, you called
is?
it.
Who do you think? It's the legend.
Hey, Steve, before we start, what's your thoughts on the new anthem rules?
It's a sport. I understand why the NFL's doing it, and it looks bad PR. People are kneeling, but, I'm just a firm believer in, I'm a, full-blooded American, so I just think you should stand for the anthem. That's just my opinion, but I really don't care if they kneel, so.
Appreciate you taking my call, Steve.
What was that?
I'm just playing, buddy. What's on your mind?
Not much. So, did you guys hear about this crazy Incognito story that came out this morning about throwing the dumbbell at some guy in the gym?
Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about it last hour, but a new thing just came up. TMZ just published something, I guess 17 minutes ago. So they talked to the guy that ended up calling 911, and I guess Incognito was showing a bunch of signs of being erratic even before the confrontation started. He was rapidly switching between exercises with no real plan. He went to the boxing mannequin, tore it off its pedestal.
Just doing circuits.
Threw a computer out the window?
Yeah, right, yeah. Through a computer, through an impenetrable glass wall. And so this guy, I guess...
psychiatric ward? Yeah, I heard about that too. Yeah.
But yeah, he's talking to this Mark guy was like jogging in some area, and Richie started cutting him off, and then he threw the tennis ball at him. So it's even weirder than when the story initially came out. He accused the guy who called 911 of working for the government. Like, this dude needs some help. He should absolutely not be on a football. Like, all this other stuff about, like, how, maybe he's a racist, maybe he's not, maybe he's an asshole, maybe he's a locker room cancer, maybe he's not, whatever. That's kind of irrelevant. This dude needs help, and he should not be on a football field.
There are people still saying that maybe he's a racist?
There's definitely people who think he's not. So,
but his PFF grade.
He's tremendous.
Is that Riley Cooper? Is that the guy?
He handstands for the anthem, right?
Well... So, Doogie tweeted out earlier that the Vikings haven't really shown interest in Kendricks. I already know where Luke and Reef stand on this. Luke and Andy stand. So, would you like him on the team? And if you would, what do you think he might cost or contract-wise?
abstractly, I would like him on the team. I think he would cost too much. I don't know what it would be, $6 million?
Probably 6. Probably 5, 6.
Yeah. But I think that there are teams right now that need starting linebackers. The team I've pegged, Pittsburgh Steelers, gets to stay in state.
Oh, yeah.
They definitely need a starting linebacker. And he's got the physical skills, I think, to play the role that they would need him to play. So, I mean, there are teams that need a starting linebacker, and so he can just go there. There's no way, A, he would want to be the third linebacker in a nickel league, or B, that he would want to take less with the Vikings, who don't have a ton of cap room, that are trying to sign a bunch of people to long-term extensions.
That actually sounds like an old-timey saying. It's like, I was a third linebacker in a nickel league.
About as useful as a third linebacker.
Last thing, I'll let you guys get going. I don't know if we discussed this, but what do you think about Barr not showing up? Do you think it's him holding out for a contract?
Honestly,
you think, or
honestly, any all-star type player in the NFL, if you're in the final year of your contract, I don't see any reason why you should show up to
Aaron Donald.
Like, there's no reason. There's no reason why you should show up and risk, potentially not getting that contract that you need or whatever the case is. I mean, it does potentially give you a little bit more leverage as far as that. I mean. If I was Aaron Donald, he probably should have just not showed up at all last.
I support Aaron Donald doing it. I support Odell Beckham doing it. I support Anthony Barr doing it. Supported Darrelle Revis doing it. Well, I don't support Tom Brady doing it. That's just being a diva.
Yeah, right.
But otherwise,
he is a diva. He's a douche.
Tossed him a softball.
I've never liked the guy. I never will. He sold his soul to the devil to win those Super Bowl rings, and I think he did too. Seriously. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, I'm just curious what your thoughts were on that too.
Yeah, I don't think he even cares about the money in his current contract. I think he's going to get the same amount of money, $12 million. He just wants the long-term security, because if he gets injured this year, it's going to really hurt his long-term potential.
Gets injured in OTAs.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's happened like twice now, right? 3 times?
Yeah.
Hunter Henry, some third-string running backs.
Hunter Henry.
Antonio Gates, welcome back.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hey, so what are we doing for Memorial Day, you guys? Grilling, or what are you up to this weekend?
Turkey stuff and mashed potatoes.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
That's fine. Yeah, I moved to an apartment. I don't have a grilling plan. I know they got like a patio, but I don't like what the rules are with the grill that they have. I don't want to like screw it up.
Hey, I'll be bartending for everybody who wants to just get a little day drunk.
Andy, you'll be proud.
See your boy.
I got 30 pounds of prime rib I'm grilling this weekend.
Wow, dude.
Damn. I got a brand new grill I'm waiting to break in, and it's the perfect time. It'll be hotter than fuck, of course, but hey, still, perfect time to break it in.
I missed that. I missed that. What was that?
30 pounds. That is
very warm.
No, it's very warm.
Yeah.
Very warm.
Well, I got to feed 30 people, so hopefully it will help us enough, but I don't know. We'll see.
Wait, you have to feed 3 people or 30 people?
All right.
It's got to be 3 because it's got 30 prime
people.
ribs, right? So, yeah.
All right, bro.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good Memorial weekend. Stay safe out there.
All right, man. See ya.
All right, bye.
What if someone doesn't show up? Who gets the extra run?
Steve.
Man, that's like 300 pounds.
The pitmaster always gets the extra.
That's like 300 bucks worth of meat. I respect that.
Yeah,
it's good. Also good. Some of these Twitter questions we'll hammer out. Actually, no. So the kneeling rules. I think players will still get very creative and skirt around it.
Well, okay, so this is interesting. So I don't know if it was intentional or not intentional, but there's ambiguity to what it means to respect the anthem, because the rule is they have to stand and respect the anthem, or they are subject to league fines. And so the only way to be creative is in a way that people will notice, right? And any way that you notice will probably look like disrespecting the anthem or whatever. Yeah. And so maybe players will be creative about it, but they're still going to get fined.
Yeah. They made it ambiguous just so they'd be like, that's disrespectful.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah. I want someone who had prior gymnastics training to just be in handstand the entire time. The entire time.
What if it was like a kicker?
What about just the Randy Moss moon? Just have it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the most disrespectful thing. I don't really think the kneeling thing is all that disrespectful.
I'll say this. You guys know
probably crosses whatever line.
Definitely. No, it's out of hand. Do not do that to anybody. But you guys notice, Jimmy Butler doesn't go out for the national anthem for the Wolves.
Because
doesn't that violate league rules?
It does violate league rules, but I feel like he is kind of getting his point across.
Well, I didn't know about it, so how effective could...
Oops. Now you know.
Well, no, he's got to get into character because he comes in as Jamie Foxx. They do really look alike.
They do actually.
Yeah.
Like Jamie Foxx would play Jimmy Butler in Jimmy Butler the movie.
Yes.
No, that's
you just want to call us racist. It's fine. You guys pulling out the racist. But
Inca, give Jamie Foxx the snap it to a Slim Jim haircut, and you have Jimmy Butler.
Nah,
well, it's not that close.
Jamie Foxx's a daughter is very attractive, by the way.
Okay,
not shocking.
Very attractive.
But yeah, Anthem.
She better be like 20, Inca.
She's
I
like
feel
25.
like
So is Eminem's daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has been rapping about her for quite a bit of time.
I do think that the league is going to be subject to a weird labor challenge from the NFLPA because like imposing a penalty outside of the CBA, and obviously the NFL is going to defend themselves by saying, no, this is just further clarifying or redefining the conduct detrimental to the league stuff. But it's still interesting because you're creating a new penalty and a new rule about player conduct that was not agreed to in the CBA. So the legal battle surrounding that's going to be interesting.
But isn't it also an issue because I forget who posted it, but I mean, as it pertains to Sunday Night Football, we actually saw an increase as far as viewership and whatnot. Centered around that. So as far as the narrative around it's causing people to turn away from football, we're not necessarily seeing those numbers play out any differently than we are.
Like every number across the board on television is dropping.
Yeah, right. So once you account for that, the NFL's quote unquote rising relative to everything else. So the percentage of television viewers has increased for the NFL versus other years, and so they've increased revenue
because the cord cutter does not actually hurt the NFL. Like you can still get it right through your basic.
It depends.
If you can get like a TV antenna.
Yeah,
right,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so a cord cutter can get local games.
Yes.
Right. But yeah, if you're a Falcons fan, you live in Minnesota, you'd have to get Sunday tickets.
Right. I'm just
suck. But no, you're right. But yeah,
my cousin is a Falcons fan who lives in Minnesota.
Good.
But yeah, so there's going to be an interesting labor problem. I think you're making a good point that like it doesn't actually seemingly materially impact ratings because the percentage of television viewers grew for the NFL instead of contracted. But I don't think that matters from the perspective of because they just have to perceive that it does, or maybe they'll make the argument that like, yeah, actually our viewership grew, but it could have grown even more were it not for this. So, I don't think that matters for the legal argument. Yeah. But that's going to be interesting. This might present, it probably won't, but it might present a test case for the difference between compelled speech from an employer versus because they're required to stand for the anthem, and that's kind of weird, versus an employer like obviously an employer has the right to like fire you for like expressing particular views, and we saw that with the Google case, and we see that all the time with like someone says something racist and then like they
except
contact
for Incognito because he'll get raised.
Right, But I mean, there's a difference between like you say something and then it makes the employer look bad versus you're compelling employees to do so. We'll see, maybe.
Can't they just put in their bio, my activism does not reflect the views of my employer?
Yeah, if they just put that in the
just like
Twitter
tape
bio,
it across their chest.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, right.
I've thought about this. The Vikings are one of the few teams that haven't had any incidents right now. Do you think that was just a sort of a unspoken thing, or do you think Zimmer, possibly the Wilfs?
I absolutely think
well, Zimmer came out, was it today saying that like, hey, I love my team for standing. This is something we all believe in, which I think is crap. This was definitely something that was handed down from the top, and whether Zimmer believes
now,
it.
I absolutely think Zimmer is on board with this.
Well, no, I know he is. I'm saying like obviously ownership is here. He's like, yeah, I feel the exact same way. I'm dispersing it to the rest of the team, and we all need to be on board with this.
I still don't know. I mean, like the Wilfs are to the left of the league's ownership political spectrum. Like not as like left as like Lurie of the Eagles or anything like that, but like. That would be unusual to me, but I think this is a Zimmer thing. I guess we'll never know.
It's a Wabi thing.
It's a Wabi thing. But yeah, Zimmer said it's very important to us that they stand for the anthem. Like he said that, and it just feels like that's a Zimmer thing. And they asked I think Stefon Diggs about it,
and he gave a very
diplomatic, diplomatic answer,
diplomatic swag.
And Diggs's answer was essentially it's very close to the argument that a lot of people use, which is Diggs was just like, well, I'm a team.
Yeah, they don't pay me to put my political views
and so
I don't bring that to work.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was, so it was a pretty diplomatic answer. I'm personally disappointed, but I figured that was the case when no Vikings kneeled for 2 years.
Right.
I figured it out.
But we have Sheldon Richardson now, so I'm really excited to see if that.
Yeah, I mean, it probably won't.
It probably won't.
But it's I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Eric Long came out with
Chris Long.
Chris Long. Excuse me. Sorry.
Eric Long. He's the other Long brother. Sign him.
He came out with a pretty long, or just like a little excerpt, but he just kind of said that he's disappointed.
Chris Long? That's no, I'm just kidding.
He was just kind of disappointed with the ruling and whatnot. I don't know if that necessarily means he's going to come forth. I don't know if we are going to see more players who maybe weren't as outspoken the prior season.
So Robert Klemko reported that players that weren't kneeling for the anthem or were considering it but decided against it now are leaning towards kneeling just to spite the NFL because they really hate this idea that you can compel speech that seems to be one of the bigger issues, is that being required to engage in an active political speech really rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And so it's different than, hey, I've got this concern about police brutality or whatever, or something in the community, so I'm going to make a stand about it. They might be concerned, but they may not think that this is the right forum. But when the league requires, I mean, that's a whole different. So that pushes. So that might push some more players in another direction. So they're going to get fined, right? Because so they initially floated a trial balloon yesterday or 2 days ago about how it was going to be
how the insiders get used like that.
Yeah, right. But how it might be a 15-yard penalty, and immediately Twitter was like, "Oh, so if players on both teams do it, it's offset. It doesn't matter." Okay, great, cool.
And bring back the kickoff.
Right. So it's interesting that it's a fine instead of an on-field penalty.
And yeah,
I think given a fine, I think it's a lot more. I think it would be a lot more damaging to the NFL than the 15-yard penalty, because 15-yard penalty is it's what happened
on
in
a
the game.
Kickoff, right?
Yeah, but then obviously during you're taking away salary from people. That's not only are you potentially infringing on their First Amendment rights. I mean, that becomes a lot. I just feel like it becomes a lot more dicey to start deducting pay from.
Right. Well, it's dicey. I would hesitate to use the word First Amendment or the phrase First Amendment just because employers have been protected more and more actually over the past couple of years in terms of their ability to manipulate the political speech that they put out with regards to their employees. But yeah, I think that it has an impact on the freedom, generally speaking, of speech. But I don't think that's going to be as big a part of it. I did say it might provide a test case for compelled speech, but I think really most of this fight is going to be about labor rules and violating the CBA than it is going to be about whether or not they have the right to compel speech, which people know my political views. I think it's awful if employers have the ability to compel speech from their employees. But
you hear that, Tom?
Yeah, right.
I will tell you.
Talking to you, Tom.
Editor my ass.
But yeah, we'll see. I retweeted a piece I wrote back in September of last year about politics and sports and stuff like that. So if people want to see what my thoughts on the whole thing are, they can go to zonecovers.com. Maybe we can bring it back to the front page real quick.
Zonecovers.com/manifesto.
Right. My views absolutely reflect the views of every single one of the employees of Zone Coverage, including the ownership.
It's more of a mission statement.
So yeah, we're just putting the article into the About Us section. But yeah,
it is a weird, especially when they're like contractually obligated to talk after the game, right?
Yeah,
you're like, we don't want to hear your thoughts except like,
right? Yeah,
the cliches that you're going to come up with.
So yeah, so it's awkward, and I think that the power that employers have over employees is already very large, and so to expand it to speech acts even during the workplace, I just think that's very weird.
Yeah, let's hammer out these Twitter questions and go eat some chicken and watch some bad basketball.
Yes.
At Library Ben, 2 ideas to get a little production from I love chicken. From a couple high-enders that we're not expecting much from this season. 1, O'Neal as tight end in jumbo packages, and 2, Treadwell as Joker tight end. Thoughts?
It's the same thing. No, I don't think either of those things are happening.
I'm in on both. I've been advocating this team go 6 tight end deep for years.
That's true. Bring back Chase Ford.
Yeah.
Bring back Michael Pruitt.
God, I loved me some Chase Ford.
6 H-back. It's all about the U, baby. At Kyle Wilkin TDB.
Jeff Dugan.
Yeah.
That was a
Dum Dugan.
Pride of Maryland. Prediction for unexpected breakout or significant impact player 2018, Giulio Johnson.
That's a good one. I like it.
Good.
Yeah, I would say so. I think he's going to get a little bit more. I kind of want him to stay at 3 Tech.
I agree.
I want him to stay at 3 Tech. I want him really developed there. I think it'll give some kind of contingency plan if Sheldon Richardson doesn't become that guy.
So the Vikings are in a weird spot where they don't have a backup nose tackle, and I don't really think they've got a backup 3 technique unless you count Jalen.
They're just bodies.
David
They're just
Perry like that.
guys.
Yeah. Whoops.
Come out and play something. I don't know.
But so it's tough. So Giulio Johnson might end up in camp and in OTAs playing both 1 and 3, maybe a little bit more of 1, like we saw when he was a rookie. But yeah, I agree that he should be a 3 technique, and if he gets to stay at 3 technique the whole time, and he ends up seeing the field maybe as often as Tom Johnson did back when both Sharif and Tom were healthy, we could see a 4 or 5 sack season from Giulio Johnson as a sub, which would be great because then he's kind of moving his way into being a starter. You could let Sheldon Richardson pursue more money in free agency, and you've got this thing figured out. I think that Giulio's got a ton of talent. So,
and I do share your concern as far as having a backup nose tackle. So we saw in 2015 when Sharif Floyd had to play significant snaps at nose tackle.
Boy, was he bad at that!
And he was bad, and he was just like, I want Linval Joseph to come back. I do. So
I think. Really, this situation plays more of a factor on what they think or how well Jalen Holmes can come out of the gate and look comfortable. Because that's going to be fun. Because if they really do love Holmes at the 3 Tech, then and really you want to play Giulio Johnson wherever he's going to be the best at. But I think his versatility in this aspect, because again they lack the depth. If Jalen Holmes can look good at the 3 Tech, maybe then I think they'll want to see Giulio Johnson at the nose, just because that's how everything's shaken out. As far as like who could pop out, Vikings are in a rare, unique case where a lot of their starters, almost all of them, are already set in stone. You're talking about second and third team guys who could maybe pop up, and that's just tough. I like Anthony Harris when he plays. He doesn't play a ton, but if Sendejo were to ever go down,
Harris has looked a lot better.
I could see
year
Anthony.
by year.
He made
nice.
that great play too. He had a great game against the Rams, but a great play specifically on Cooper Kupp at the 1 yard line to punch that ball out. I think that's just really breeds confidence in a guy like that who can sit here all offseason going into what I think will be his 4th year now. If he were to get some time, maybe that. But again, you're talking about second team guys because pretty much all our starters are set in stone.
At Jacob Cost, is Paul Allen in the conversation for best local radio play-by-play man in the country?
Maybe. So I remember a couple of years ago, I was watching one of the NFL top 10s, and they
Jerry
had
Sandusky.
They had. He's actually really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right. Yeah.
Jerry with a G.
Jerry with a G.
That should be his Twitter
the
handle.
play-by-play guy for the Ravens, unrelated to the more famous Sandusky.
Ohio.
Yeah, Sandusky, Ohio. But yeah, I was watching a top 10. They had the top 10 local like play-by-play guys, and I was like, "Oh, Paul Allen's not even on this list. That sucks."
Yeah.
And it turns out like some of those guys are like more iconic in a way. Like the Eagles guy, whose voice I kind of hate, is definitely like much more iconic. The Pittsburgh guy, same thing. So maybe he's in the conversation for best play-by-play guys, but I don't know.
I think the question is it all encompassing? As in, he hosts a radio show that's super popular?
Nah, just game radio.
Yeah, because I feel like as a whole package, he's very likable. I kind of wonder where
they're racing. Yeah. I'll say the Tampa Bay guy, Gene Deckeroff. I really like him. Like
stud.
Yeah, like they'll use a lot of his audio in NFL films where it'll be like, all stud up the gut. He's that guy. Even when it was Michael Pittman.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say yes, but I just don't know enough about the rest of the team by team.
This would be a great question for Sam. He'd be able to break it down.
Sam's got the power rankings down for these broadcasters for sure.
They talk about The Bachelor.
It's like just two things.
He knows his stuff, man.
At the real Gabby, when the New Orleans DB, the one who let Diggs get by him for the Minneapolis Miracle, Marcus Williams, got back to the sideline. Do you think he yelled, "I panicked," as many times as Tom did last week about the fajitas?
I panicked! I forgot about the fajitas, man. I forgot about the fajitas.
Probably, except Marcus Williams can recover.
Wow! Shade!
So I'm the only person who's not done a wow today so far.
Wait, no, hold on. We haven't talked about Yinka voluntarily missing the cookout draft.
Oh, I didn't that wasn't a voluntary thing.
Okay.
That was a protest.
Baby mama drama.
Yeah, the black guy misses the cookout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yinka, you can't disrespect the food drafts. That's in the...
No, I'm sorry.
He's just on a next level of black guy cookout. Like, instead of being late, he just missed it.
We still save you a play.
I thought it was this week, so that's why I'm... No.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Two more. FNL runner. Who'd you rather the Vikings sign, Incognito or Michael Kendricks?
Michael Kendricks.
Not even close.
Michael, what? I thought he was going to go Michael Vick. I was like where are we going on this?
What?
We've gone over this. The guy who...
it's not racist.
Does not need to be evaluated for mental health.
Dead serious. I saw a guy in a red Michael Vick jersey today wearing red sweatpants walking around on 55. And I was just like,
that's a travesty. It should be a black Michael Vick jersey because that was dope.
It was dope.
Yeah.
Do they ever wear their blacks?
I think they finally wore their blacks last year after not wearing them for a long time.
Yeah,
but yeah,
they
don't wear them a ton.
With the red helmets,
they're tight.
Yeah.
Second part. Also, is there any chance DeFilippo's offense unlocks a new level of play from Treadwell, or is this it?
New level of play. That is an interesting way of putting that.
But he's going to be the Alshon Jeffrey.
Wait, what's the question?
DeFilippo.
He's going to unlock a new level of play.
Anything from Treadwell?
Is he going to help Treadwell?
No, I mean, Treadwell's been through, two offense coordinators of the Vikings. One of them was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't see how another one's going to unlock anything, especially with the same receiver coach.
I want DeFilippo to unlock Linval Joseph fullback again.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, let's do it.
Also, Dontari Poe jump pass for Linval.
There you go.
I like both of those things. Get Linval on the offensive side of the field more often than Laquan.
Yeah. Last but not least, anti-gravity 19. If you had to pick up one free agent vet they had to start, would you take Antonio Gates or Richie Incognito?
Antonio Gates.
Got him.
That's rough, though.
I don't want the guy that's in prison right now.
Yeah.
That's not difficult.
Practice starts. Where's Richie? Behind bars.
Club fed. What's coming up from you, gents? What are you working on?
I'm working on a piece about McKenzie Alexander.
Yeah.
Should we give up on him? Does the Mike Hughes thing mean anything in terms of how the Vikings see him? Is he on the same path as Trey Waynes? with regards to development, that sort of stuff.
They move. I just want to take your take. They move Waynes all over right away. Remember, he was in the nickel. We were like, is he gonna? Do you think they're just doing the same thing with Hughes? They're just moving him all around and eventually think and expect him to play on the outside? Or do you think, and this is just this time of year, do you think those reps on the inside, maybe there's something more to it?
Right, yeah. I am curious
who's
about
in more jeopardy, Waynes or Mac, basically?
I really like Mac, and it's mostly
I like
because
him a lot, yeah.
it's mostly because I want to see him on the outside, which I think he would really, really thrive in. And I feel like part of the reason why we're looking at him is like, well, we don't know if Mac's going to be here. It's like, well, it's because we're not playing him probably where he should be, and it's like, is that fair to Mac?
I mean, they know more than we do. I know, and maybe he'd look even worse on the outside. But
it just feels as if like we know for a fact that Trey Waynes is not playing in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
We know that McKenzie Alexander has some flexibility to play both outside and inside, even though he's probably better on the outside. So it's like it's because of Trey Waynes that you really can't probably unlock the full potential of McKenzie Alexander, which is frustrating.
That is a
in
little
a weird
frustrating.
way. Right.
Yeah, the question then is like, how valuable is he then if he can only do the one thing?
Yeah.
And so maybe he's like good, like kind of abstractly, but it's just like not that valuable to the Vikings right now unless Trey Waynes leaves. But anyway, those are all sort of questions that I'll try to answer. We don't have like an amazing amount of snaps to evaluate him, but we have more for him than we did for Trey Waynes kind of at the same point in the season. So
let's move everybody to safety.
Yeah, let's do that.
That's how we're going to roll. Luke?
Everybody's safety. It's NFL blitz. Remember prevent?
Just run that straight prevent defense every time.
Bomb.
Yeah, we're starting to look at the NFC North. We're starting to look at the rest of the drafts from the Packers. We know they killed it. Two great cornerbacks that we both loved, or I know me and Arif did in the consensus board with Josh Jackson from Iowa. Stole him in the second round, then Jair Alexander, and they got that first-round pick. The Bears are another fun team who had another fun draft just to kind of break down. And then you got the Lions. Where are the Lions? We're just the Lions. Well, they drafted. They drafted Frank Ragnow. They drafted a center. Yeah. We'll break down. Their top 2-3 picks.
I'm also just very curious about the Packers defense and whether or not Mike Pettin can really. Yeah. They've got a ton of pieces that I think are talented.
I'm really kind of excited about the Packers defense. Like I'm optimistically excited about it because
I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, because I think Mike Pettin should be able to. I like Mike Pettin as a coordinator. I don't like him as a coach.
Yeah, I think he's a great coordinator. Yeah. I think there's a lot of talent on that defense. I'm pretty worried about what they can do.
Should be good. So one of those things.
We'll see.
Where as a Viking fan, it's like, pressure's on now for you guys.
Yeah.
It better be good. Dude.
Maybe Mo Wilkerson won't quit this year.
I always forget they got Mo Wilkerson.
Yinka, how about you? We're working on.
I'm getting to the point where I think I'm going to go through the season again.
Yinka's grinder.
Yeah, I'm grinding this time for just kind of looking at some like things that worked, things that didn't work. I really want to watch Jerick McKinnon again from this past season because I miss him so much.
Jerick McKinnon,
Jerick
Teddy.
But he's wearing 28 now, so.
Ooh. Trying to fill the shoes of Carlos Hyde.
Yeah. We're 2-8 in
He's
San
wearing
Fran?
2-8.
Oh.
What number did he wear at Georgia Southern? 1? Because he was a quarterback.
He was a quarterback.
Yes, he was one.
I love when running backs wear single-digit numbers.
Because he can.
Listen, hour 1, we did most of our top 10 Vikings list. Very important. Summer content, #lists. Shows available on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, zonecoverage.com/machine. Become a subscriber. And for Luke and Arif and Yinka and Tom, I'm Andy saying, hey, young, sign number, bye. Listen, hour 1.